I just grab it and bring it home. That was more work than I wanted to do. You didn't sign up for this. Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, also known as Bargain Counter Argument, under which name I am available on Instagram. And I am a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books, libraries, and related topics. This is just going to be a relaxed, nighty kind of video. Last night, I had a live stream and I was joined by my buddy Abby Jean, and we talked about books you might want to try out if you're thinking of trying science fiction as a literary genre, and what kind of books might be good entry points if that was something you wanted to do. I will link it in the description box. And then this morning I had the dentist, and this was not just like the cleaning and exam x-ray kind of appointment. This was actual work that needed to be done. And it ended up costing a lot less than I expected, which was very good because I had already budgeted that money for the dental work. And then it turns out I didn't need as much as they thought. So yeah, that's a lot of books I can buy instead. I mean, I could save it for a rainy day, but what do I do on rainy days but read books? That works out. Anyhow, so that was a bit of a job just the same. I had a silver filling. That's how old it was. It was silver filling from 42 years ago that finally had to be replaced. So farewell, you will be missed. We had a lot of really good meals together, and yeah. Okay, so anyway, so that's by way of saying why I'm feeling pretty tired and kind of mellow right now. And I thought I'd do a mellow kind of video where I assess the books I've checked out from the library recently and decide whether I'm actually going to read them or not. This is something I was going to do anyway. So I thought, why not just turn on the camera and see what happens? So the reason for this is sometimes I'll get books and I won't know exactly what they are, or I'll see something on Instagram or hear about it, BookTube or something, and I'll be like, ooh, I want to read that. And then, do I really want to read that, or was I just surrendering to hype? Sometimes surrendering to hype works out fine, though, so that's not a bad thing. And since I'm getting these all from the I have a new tripod and it's very tippy, so if I shake occasionally, that's why. I got all of these from the public library, so I'm not out any financial amount. So, and sometimes when I go to the library, I forget my reading glasses and I just grab something because it looks like it might be interesting, but I don't have a chance to like really assess it fully. I just grab it and bring it home. And I do have a candle going in the background. That is my library candle from Makers of Wax Goods. On Instagram, I pair books with scented candles and stage them and take a picture and post it. So feel free to check that out if you haven't already. And if that sounds interesting or not, again, I am not the boss of you. That's what I say in every video. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 books to assess here. I think most of them I'm probably going to end up keeping, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, so we have 8 rom-coms. And I will do those first. I'm not going to tag for each of these 17 books. I'm not going to create a little chapter for each of these 17 books, but I will group them according to genre or subgenre. So we have by Shamiz Patel, Playing Flirty. You can see we have a lady who is standing on some books in order to be somewhat taller, but she's still shorter than the gentleman. And there's a banana on the floor. I wonder if somebody slipped on the peel. For Rosemary Jones, risks are a hard no. That's me. Okay, for Rosemary Jones, risks are a hard no, except on game night. For one precious evening a week, Rose can forget about her meticulously tracked life plan, her demanding boss, and her lackluster love life, and focus on besting the pants off of her friends. I assume they mean metaphorically, although there's nothing wrong with a good old pants-off dance-off. But none of them bring out her hyper-competitive side quite like William Ashburn. Her best friend's half-brother, William, is the paragon of a sexy nerd. The tall, dork, and handsome game designer is Rose's playing nemesis. But when Rose decides to enter a contest with the board game she's secretly invented, there's only one person who can help her win. Now what has always been a game between Rose and William is getting a lot more serious, and after spending her entire life just trying not to lose, Rose may finally be ready to risk it all and play to win. Okay, so that sounds like it's fun, personal growth. I would say they don't sound like enemies or even antagonists, but friendly rivals or rivals to friends to more. 2025 is the copyright date, and it is 335 pages long. And the first paragraph, well, the first paragraph is a single sentence, so I'll read the second paragraph as well. If life was a game, I'd made a wrong turn. In my constant effort to achieve everything on my life goals spreadsheet, I ended up taking on too much work and enrolling in a postgraduate business course that I had very little interest in. I think I'll go ahead and read some more of this. By Melissa Wiesner, Wish You Were Here. Catherine Lipton carefully calculates everything, and not just because she's a math professor. She had a chaotic childhood growing up with free-spirited single dads. So now, from her daily to-dos to her afternoon snacks, Catherine has a plan for it all. If she hasn't planned for afternoon snacks, she's my kind of person. So, yeah. But sometimes she wishes she could be someone else, someone with a totally different life, until suddenly her entire identity, from her social security number to her driver's license to her academic record, mysteriously disappears. There's no evidence Catherine Lipton ever existed. With no ID and no other options, Catherine reluctantly accepts help from her exasperatingly laid-back and infuriatingly attractive doorman, Luca Morelli. Before long, by the books, Catherine finds herself bending all the rules with the charismatic Luca, from taking meetings in smoky bars to breaking into hospital record rooms and having a surprising amount of fun. Ooh, heist. Heist for your own identity. As Catherine unravels the truth behind her identity's disappearance, she may discover that the real Catherine has been missing for a lot longer than she realized. I assume this is New York City. New York City, or just generally large city building doormen. They know what's what. Those are some guys. Those are some guys that it pays to have them in your corner. It's a good thing. Okay, here's the first paragraph. If only I could have predicted the disaster that would be waiting for me when I stepped off the elevator, I would have taken the stairs. Instead, I rode down to the lobby from my 8th floor apartment because the last thing I want is to show up to meet my brand new boss with my blouse sweaty and my hair flying. Oh boy, I feel ya. Yeah, I'm gonna give that gets a shot. The Love Con by Ceresia Glass. Sometimes Kenya Davenport, here's the cover. Looks like we've got some diversity, and we got a plus-size queen, love it. Sometimes Kenya Davenport believes she was switched at the hospital. How else could a lover of anime, gaming, and cosplay come from STEM parents? I think there's an awful lot of overlap with anime, gaming, and cosplay, and STEM people. I don't know where she's been hanging out that seems unusual. Blackberry lemonade, the pause that refreshes is Coca-Cola. Still, Kenya dreams of being able to turn her creative hobby into a career. She finally has a chance to make it big when she joins the reality show competition, Cosplay or No Way. I like that. That's fun. There's just one catch. The challenge for the final row is all about iconic duos, and the judges want the contestants' significant others to participate. Oh my goodness, that is very not exactly heteronormative, but that's very romantically normative. As an ace arrow person, I find that prejudicial. I'm concerned. Unfortunately, Kenya is as single as she can be at the moment. Luckily, her best friend, Cameron Lassiter, agrees to be her fake boyfriend for the show. Role-playing a couple in love will force them to explore what they're hiding under the mask of friendship. Can Kenya and Cam fake it until she makes it, or will she be real about her feelings, knowing it could cost her the best friend she's ever had? I gotta say, I love a good friends to lovers. And I like it when, they're already friends, so it's not like they need to get together because they're working on a project together, but that's always fun. Fake relationship. Well, they already have a real relationship. Here's the first paragraph. It is dialogue. Welcome back to Cosplay or No Way. Our three remaining contestants are fighting for the opportunity to make it to the final round, where one of them will win $100,000 and the chance to work in costuming for a major motion picture. Okay, yeah, I'm a little concerned about this show. Nothing wrong with the Kenya or what's his name, Cameron Lassiter. I keep thinking it's Lassiter, like on Psych. Assy. Anyway, I'm sure that'll come up. I'm a little leery of this game show that requires all of its contestants to be in a romantic relationship. That's a little weird, but whatever. Okay, then we have Unromance by Aaron Connor. Love a good diner scene. Ever since I saw When Harry Met Sally. I saw that with my dad in the theater. I was 18 or 19, and it was an interesting movie to watch with a parent. Sawyer Green knows romance. She's a best-selling author of the genre, or she was, until her ex left her with nothing but writer's block and a bitter, broken heart. But when she gets stuck in an elevator with a handsome stranger, she sees their meet cute for what it is. Just a one-night stand. It might have worked, too, if they could stop running into each other. Actor Mason West sees Sawyer's reappearance in his life as a sign. Obviously, they're meant to cure each other. Him of the hopeless romanticism that only ends in heartbreak and tabloid train wrecks, and Sawyer of her writer's block. Their agreement is simple. Sawyer will be Mason's perfect rom-com love interest, showering him with every romance trick in the book so he never falls for them again. Only rules: 1, no more sex, and 2, no matter how swoony the circumstances, absolutely no falling in love. It's a foolproof plan, until Sawyer and Mason find that once set in motion, some plots cannot be stopped, and despite their best efforts, they might be hurtling toward a happy ending. Let's see what the first paragraph looks like. Okay, again, it starts with dialogue and then a full paragraph. Oh, okay, here we go. There's a little thing up at the top. Chapter 1, The Meet Cute. The love interests meet. It's cute. It upends their entire lives. Hold the door! Sawyer shot her arm out automatically, shoving her hand between the nearly closed elevator doors. She was going to lose a limb one day, but she believed all these little acts of kindness. I'm not doing well here. They did not give me anything other than a little local anesthetic on down here, but I still feel loopy. Okay, she was going to lose a limb one day, but she believed all these little acts of kindness would pay off for her eventually. Hell, maybe today was that day. Sure, I'll stick with that one. Megan Quinn, Bridesmaid Undercover. I have read Megan. I haven't read anything by any of those writers before, but I have read Megan Quinn. Let's see. She'll have to go undercover to help him, prove to his ex he's worth a second chance, but what if the second chance he really needs is with the woman who's been at his side from the start? Everly Plum is delighted to be heading up to the bridesmaid for hire. Everly Plum is delighted to be heading up the Bridesmaid for Hire program at Magical Moments by Maggie, and when Hardy Hopper, one of their billionaire investors, approaches Everly for help with his friend's wedding, she's more than happy to step in. But Hardy has an extra assignment for her. His ex-girlfriend will be the maid of honor opposite his role as best man, and he wants Everly's help getting her back. Oh boy, this is a crackpot billionaire scheme. I don't know, I've kind of had enough of crackpot billionaire schemes in real life. There's only one problem. Everly may have a tiny crush on the dashing businessman. But despite the way Hardy makes her stomach flutter, she's determined to prove herself, both as a bridesmaid and as a matchmaker. That is, until she finds her crush turning into real feelings. Not a crush is real feelings. It's just, it's one-sided and unrealistic, but it's not fake. It's pretty sincere. Not to mention, Hardy can't help but notice how well he clicks with Everly, and before he knows it, he's not looking for his ex's attention anymore. But even after their simmering attraction finally rises to the surface, they will have to contend with meddling friends, poor timing, and professional boundaries, and the risk that no one might get a second chance after all. Okay, Bridesmaid Undercover is apparently a sequel to Bridesmaid for Hire, which I haven't read yet. So is this a reissue, or is it just copyright 2024? And it's fairly long. It's almost 500 pages. Let's read the first paragraph and see how that looks. Oh, it's a bunch of short paragraphs. So the prologue is apparently from Hardy's point of view. Oh my. My penis feels phenomenal. To you, maybe. Like it's floating on a puffy white cloud being blown around by whispers of "you had sex last night." Oh my goodness, this is like a Lonely Island song. Not just any kind of sex, but mind-altering sex. Sex that made me see stars, as if my head was stuck in an erotic wormhole where luminous spheroids were glittering all around me. Oh my goodness. Megan Quinn, you are thin ice, but because of past good experiences, I'll stick with you for now. Okay, and then a couple I grabbed off the shelf. Both of these are by Timothy Janofsky, and I've read from him before. What have I read from him? Never Been Kissed, and The Fake Dating Game. I enjoyed those. Did not read You Had Me at Happy Hour. I didn't know it existed until this moment. I do like that title. So this is The Merriest Misters, and this is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, and this is the one that was published first in, quite some time ago, 2022? No, that's not that long ago. Okay, find a little joy to the world. Not today, Santa! Matthew Prince is young, rich, and thoroughly spoiled, so what if his parents barely remember he exists and the press is totally obsessed with him? He's on top of the world, but one major PR misstep later and Matthew is cut off and shipped away to spend the holidays in his grandparents' charming small-town hellscape. Population? Who cares? It's bad enough he's stuck in some festive winter wonderland. It's even worse that he has to share space with Hector Martinez, an obnoxious, is Hector, I would guess, not Hector, an obnoxiously attractive local who's unimpressed with anything and everything Matthew does. Just when it looks like the holiday season is bringing nothing but heated squabbles, the charity gala loses its coordinator and Matthew steps in as a saintly act to get home early on good behavior, with Hector as his maddening +1. But even a Grinch can't resist the unexpected joy of found family, and in the end, the forced proximity and infectious holiday cheer might be enough to make a lonely prince's heart grow 3 sizes this year. This, it sounds like the summary itself is search engine optimized. I mean, this is an observation more than a complaint. Okay. Chapter 1, this is again a few short paragraphs. I bought an island. So what? It's not even a big island. It's only like 25 acres. The guy who sold it to me said it's an international boating sport fishing destination with several private beaches and that it possessed strong development potential. My parents are always telling me to reach my full potential, so I spent a measly couple $1 million on an early Christmas gift to do just that. Apparently that was taking it too literally and a gross waste of hard-earned income. Okay, sounds like somebody needs to learn a few lessons. I'll stick around to see how that goes. Also by Timothy Janofsky, more recently, The Merriest Misters. Looks like this is also mail, 2024. Patrick Hargrave and Quinn Muller have been married for less than a year, but their once passionate romance is cracking under the pressures of domestic life and a cumbersome mortgage. That's until Christmas Eve when Patrick wakes Quinn up with a confession. I think I killed a man. Quinn realizes that the burglar Patrick knocked out is none other than Mr. Claus himself, and instructed by a harried elf to don the enchanted cloak and to take up the reins of the reindeer-guided sleigh on the road, Quinn and Patrick save Christmas. But as the sun rises the next morning, the sleigh brings them back to the North Pole instead of New Jersey, and they're in for a massive shock. The couple must assume the roles of Santa Claus for the first ever merriest mystery, or Christmas will be canceled permanently. With Christmas and their marriage on the line, Patrick and Quinn agree to stay together for 1 more year. Can running a toy shop together save their relationship, or will Patrick and Quinn be stuffing coal in each other's stockings come next Christmas? I am not necessarily big into marriage in trouble or relationship in trouble stories, but, you know, let's read the first paragraph or two, lines of dialogue, whatever, and see how that goes. Again, they're working on a project together. I like that in a story. That helps a lot. Okay, the first chapter is called You Better Not Pout, and is apparently from Quinn's point of view. 7 days till Christmas. There's nothing sadder than watching a festive Christmas movie alone. Scratch that. There's nothing sadder than watching a festive Christmas movie alone when your husband is upstairs doing work. Especially when you went through the trouble of picking out his favorite, Elf, in the hopes that it would lure him from his office for the evening. No luck. I'll give it a shot. Like I said, since I've read and enjoyed Matthew Janofsky's work before, then I'm optimistic. Guardedly optimistic. Okay, and finally from the rom-coms we have Gene Meltzer, Magical Meet Cute. It's a 14-day loan. Better get cracking. Is he the real deal? Or did she truly summon a golem? See, I saw this. That's what made me want to pick this up. I was like, oh, a golem romance. I like a good monster romance, especially if it's a rom-com. But if it's a golem, wow. Getting on to the point where I'm going to need to clear my phone storage. Faye Kaplan used to be engaged. Sorry. Faye Kaplan used to be engaged. She also used to have a successful legal practice, but she much prefers her new life as a potter in Woodstock, New York. The only thing missing is the perfect guy. Not that she needs one. She's definitely happy alone. That is, until she finds her town papered with anti-Semitic flyers after yet another failed singles event at the synagogue. That's a double punch. Desperate for comfort, Faye drunkenly turns to the only thing guaranteed to soothe her, pottery. A golem protector is just what her town needs, and adding all the little details to make him her ideal man can't hurt, right? And she has good intentions. When a seriously hot stranger mysteriously turns up the next day, Greg seems too good to be true, if you ignore the fact that Faye hit him with her bike, and he subsequently lost his memory. But otherwise, the man checks every single box, causing Faye to wonder if Greg's sudden and spicy appearance might be anything but a coincidence. I mean, I'm guessing he's probably not actually a golem, but it would be kind of cool if he were. Okay. Chapter 1. Noah. Okay, this also starts off a little spicy, or at least that's what we're supposed to think. It was hard and magnificent. Faye Kaplan, otherwise known as Faye to her friends, ran her hands down the long shaft of her latest clay creation. An earthenware vase, at least 3 feet in length and bearing a perfectly crafted slit for sunflowers at the top, lay on her studio table. Having been painted twice and forged through fire in her kiln, it was now ready for placement in her storefront window. All she had to do was get the heavy, hulking piece of pottery through the first floor of magic mud pottery without breaking it. Yeah, I'm gonna give that one a shot. And I'm also going to pause and do some downloading so that I can have more storage on my phone. Okay, and we're back with a slightly different angle because I had to move the phone in order to get the stuff off of it. So that was the rom-coms, and there were no out-and-out rejects. I say reject, and that sounds harsh, but there were, just because I don't necessarily, if I choose not to read a book, it doesn't mean that it's bad, obviously. It just means it's maybe not for me, at least not at this time. So we're going to go on to look at some of these others. Let's see, we have some dark romances and a couple of thrillers, it looks like. Okay. So let's, I think I was off camera there. So we have some dark romance. So next up, we have some dark romances and some thrillers. So I'm not sure this dark romantasy, we're going to find out. Again, some of these I just grabbed and I didn't have a chance to really look at them. So, I mean, it's like not just a cover buy, as it were, since I checked it out from the library and didn't actually buy it, but it's not just that it's a cover buy, it's a blurry cover buy. So we have this, and this is Notacadia by Carrie Lake. Not to be confused with Carrie Lake, the Arizona politician. It's Carrie Lake, it's spelled differently and everything. I don't think this is a sequel to something else. Maybe I should have looked into that. It is listed as new. Okay. It's kind of hard to read. It's got very small white print on a black background. Hard to read. Okay. And it says some stuff in Latin. Morini vivos doceni. The dead teach the living. After watching my mother succumb to a mysterious illness, I promised myself 2 things. I'd find a cure for what ravaged her and leave the godforsaken city where she abandoned me. 4 years later, I receive an acceptance letter from Dercadia University, one of the oldest, most prestigious schools in the country. Nestled on a secluded island off the coast of Maine, it's rumored to be haunted by the souls of the mental patients exiled there centuries before. Those whose bones are said to make up the island's white sandy shores. Having trouble reading this, like I said. And restless ghosts aren't even the most daunting peculiarity. Deverick Bramwell, known on the campus as Dr. Death, is a brilliant pathologist in charge of the Midnight Lab. He's also my devastatingly handsome professor who seems to loathe tenacious first years like me, Tenacious first years like me. Except one of the things that's hard is not only is the print very small, not true in the book itself, but the punctuation marks are just like blending into the background. So is that a comma? Is that a period? Is that nothing at all? I don't know. Let's see. Except his dark and enigmatic gaze tells me all the ways he'd devour me if given the chance, and his stolen kisses burn my lips with forbidden jealousy. I crave his authority. He aches for redemption. Together we're toxic, delicious fodder for the prying eyes, hell-bent on exhuming the rioting skeletons of our past. For the dead have much to teach, and it's only a matter of time before Dracadia's most depraved secret is resurrected. I'm a little iffy about Professor Student stuff. There is a whole page or so of notes and content warnings, glossary and translations. There's a prologue that takes place on October 12th, 1753. Chapter 1 in the present day. It looks like, yeah, it's actually alternating point of view, which I find helpful in these circumstances. Present day. God, the stench. This is from her point of view. God, that stench. 2 crisp spam sizzled in a pan as I held my arm to my nose. The popping sound of fatty meat was loud enough to carry over Jean Valjean's heartfelt plea to Javert from Les Miserables playing in the theater below our apartment. I'd accidentally burned the thinner pieces while peeling the potatoes, and there was no salvaging it at that point. I'm really torn because, like I said, I'm not necessarily keen on Professor Student, but it does sound like it's supposed to be a messy, dark, good time, so... yeah, provisionally. On probation. Okay. Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. The Sacred Stones, I believe this is the first book of a series, trilogy, I'm not exactly sure. It's got a post-it in there. Ooh, there's a map! Ooh, I love it. I love a good map. But I'm not sure I'm going to want to read this. Let's see what it says. The first in the epic fantasy romance trilogy, The Sacred Stones. There we go. And I think this is copyright 222. I think they might already be out. This is 2022. Copyright 2022. I think they might have already been published, but I'm not sure. Captured by the King of Darkness, she was forced to find the light within. Arwen Valendale never expected to be the brave one, offering her life to save her brothers. Now she's been taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent, and made to use her rare magical abilities to heal the soldiers of the vicious Onyx King. Arwen knows better than to face the ancient wicked woods that surround the castle on her own, which means working with a fellow prisoner might be her only path to freedom. Unfortunately, he's infuriating as he is cunning, and he seems to take twisted pleasure in playing on Arwen's deepest fears. But here in the Onyx Kingdom, trust is a luxury she cannot afford. To make it out of enemy territory, she'll have to navigate backstabbing royals, dark magic, and deadly beasts. But untold power lies inside Arwen, dormant and waiting for a spark. If she can harness it, she just might be able to escape with her life, and hopefully her heart. I think I probably got this because ever since I read the Plated Prisoner series, or started the Plated Prisoner series, I have been looking for something that will have that same kind of spark for me, even though I don't usually read fantasy or romantasy. I have read enough that okay. What I'm saying is I'm trying to find my new Plated Prisoner. So we're going to read, again, this is a one-sentence paragraph, so we're going to read the first 2 paragraphs. Ryder and Halden were probably dead. I wasn't sure what was making me feel sicker, finally admitting that truth to myself or my aching, burning lungs. The misery of the latter was, admittedly, self-induced. This section of my morning run was always the most brutal, but today marked 1 year since the letters had stopped coming, and while I'd sworn not to think the worst until there was reason to, the epistolary silence was hard to argue with. My heart gave a miserable thump. I'll give it a shot. Like I said, looking for my next Plated Prisoner. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Luxurious, deadly, eternal. Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny. This is, I think, some kind of like romantasy, Great Gatsby thing. Have a sip of my blackberry lemonade. It's very refreshing. Let's see. Daisy Finnegan is looking forward to the endless golden freedom of summer. No more college, no more pressure, no more worries. But when her cousin goes missing at an exclusive house party, Daisy is all too ready to confront the mysterious host, only to discover the wealthy recluse is Jay Gatsby, her childhood sweetheart, now sinfully hot and impossible to deny. She could never resist him, and it isn't long before she's entangled in a web of wealth and lies and obsession, culminating in a shocking act of violence that shatters the summer haze and threatens to drown them all. But it isn't until Gatsby is shot through the heart. And you're to blame! You give love a bad name! But it isn't until Gatsby is shot through the heart and survives that Daisy discovers the truth of how he clawed his way up in the world by selling the secret immortality to the highest bidder. Now with her friends' lives at stake, her own dizzying new powers will still volatile, and an unimaginable threat closing in, Daisy will have to face an impossible choice. Side with the man who once claimed her... Side with the man who claimed her body and soul... Side with the man who claimed her body and soul, or with the monsters who would see him lost to her forever. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got an illustration. I considered tilting the camera around, but that was more work than I wanted to do. I went to the dentist today. That's just going to be my excuse for the next week or so. I went to the dentist. I can't possibly wash the dishes or take out the garbage. I went to the dentist. The flash of green light from my phone is tempting me. Ah, the green light. I should be asleep. Ever since I graduated from UNC, I've been staying up way too late. It's after 2 a.m. and I already told myself I was done for the night. The ceiling fan glides soundlessly overhead, round and round, big leaf-shaped paddles pushing the artificially chill air through the room. I stare at it, pointedly ignoring that seductive text notification. I gotta say, I am extremely dubious about this, but I will give it a shot. I will try. Okay, now we're getting into stuff I know for sure is dark romance. We got a cat and mouse spinoff, Where's Molly by H.G. Carlton. I read A Cat and Mouse. I read the Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. I tried to read Satan's Affair, but it just wasn't for me. It was a bit much, so we'll see how I feel about this one. I'll try. Okay. Holly Devereaux has been missing for more than 2 weeks, and police are still searching for the girl who seemed to vanish out of thin air. The world still wants to know, where's Holly? In my dreams, I never escaped the Oregon woods. Life after death isn't easy to accept, especially when I still feel like a ghost. Now I live deep in the mountains of Montana, the paradise. I am struggling to read. This is I need to get more light, and this needs to be. Yeah. Now I live deep in the mountains of Montana, the paradigm of beauty. But they are also the home of horrors. Horrors that I only unleash at night, where my pigs are allowed to feast. There is a author's note. Again, that's white writing on a black background, so it's hard for me to read. Oh my goodness. Boy, it's nothing but that. Prologue, Molly, present, 2022. The loud crunch of blunt teeth biting through bone is a lullaby I could fall asleep to for the rest of my life. Sure, I'll give it a shot. I will bail if I have to, but you know. And then we have Shallow River by H.D. Carlton. Shadow Hill is where souls suffer slow and miserable deaths. Cool. Here are the content notes. Situation, graphic domestic violence, graphic rape, not between main love interests. Well, I would hope not. This isn't the 80s, after all. All forms of abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, graphic violence, etc., etc. And then there's a number to call if you're having a problem along those lines. 1-800-799-7233. Or if you are unable to speak safely, you can log into the hotline.org. That's the hotline, all one word. Or text Love Is to 1-866-331-9474. You are not alone, and you can get help. She says you are not alone. I'm adding the whole you can get help. You don't have to put up with it. You just don't. Let's see. There's not a plot summary or anything. There's just, again, with the white text on the black background. I should warn for language. Okay, so I'm going to read this first paragraph. There is going to be some NSFW language, which I'm going to tone down just because you didn't sign up for this. Know that she really is using the whole word. My fist connects with the my fist connects with the effer's nose. The crunch of bone is satisfying as it gives beneath my knuckles. I haven't even pulled my fist from his face yet, and I already want to do it again. Okay, sure, you bet. I'm on board for that. I read Haunting Adeline. I read Hunting Adeline. Next up, we have a dark romance that is Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, the first in the Souls trilogy. And I was looking to see where the content warnings were, but I don't see them, but I know that this is a thing. There is like a kind of preface that is more of an acknowledgement and talking about like reading order and that kind of thing, but let's see what it says. Leon, my reputation among magicians is unblemished. Killer, they call me. Killing is what I'm best at. One wrong move and you're dead. Except her. The one I was supposed to take, the one I should have killed. The cult that once controlled me wants her, but I am not about to lose my new toy to them. Ooh, I love a good cult, ex-cult kind of a situation. Ray, that's R-A-E. I've always believed in the supernatural. Hunting for ghosts is my passion, but summoning a demon was never part of the plan. Monsters are roaming the woods and something ancient, something evil, is waking up and calling my name. I don't know who I can trust or how deep this darkness goes. All I know is my one shot at survival is the demon stalking me, and he doesn't just want my body, he wants my soul. Okay, so I'm assuming that somewhere out there was a list of content warning for this, but I'm gonna give it a shot. With my eyes wide open, I'm going into it. Okay, and then we have 3 more books. I feel like I've just described like 24 instead of 14. And these are thrillers. We have Creep, a love story by Emma Van Straten. It's not very long. 250 pages. Let's see. Alice and Tom are made for each other. Deeply connected, they share a flat in London, go to galleries together, enjoy the same books and wine. They even share a toothbrush. Oh boy, that's commitment. It's all picture perfect. Except Alice and Tom have never met. Oh dear, oh dear. Alice has been cleaning Tom's apartment every Wednesday for a year, with every smudge wiped from his coffee cup, every multivitamin counted in the jar. Alice spirals deeper into infatuation, imagining a love so powerful it might erase a lifetime of self-hatred and loneliness. Ooh, boy. But as Alice prepares for the moment when she and Tom will finally meet face to face, she discovers that love might not be the cure she thought it was. Instead, the line between fantasy and reality becomes ever more blurred. Kind of like the text, because it's dark. Ever more blurred, shattering everything Alice thought she knew. Told in Alice's compelling, deliciously acidic voice, Creep is a literary study of unreliability and unlikability, exploring alienation, class, and race. It's a skilled debut that is resonant in the way we view women, mental health, and the lost in society. I actually have read the first couple of paragraphs. Oh my gosh, it has very long paragraphs, actually. But yeah, I'm going to go with this. I'm not going to read the first paragraph because it's like 2 pages long. But I am going to go with it. And then we have by Carter Wilson, Tell Me What You Did, a novel. All kinds of reflection. Oh, look. It's the phone reflected in the book, reflecting the phone, reflecting the book. It's infinite recursion. Or infinite regression. What's the one? Yeah, the one with... She gets people to confess their crimes for a living. He knows she's hiding a terrible secret. It's time for the truth to come out. Poe Webb, host of a popular true crime podcast, invites people to anonymously confess crimes they've committed to her audience. She can't guarantee the police won't come after her guests, but her show grants simultaneously anonymity and instant fame, a potent combination that's proven difficult to resist. After an episode recording, Poe usually erases both criminal and crime from her mind. Could have been phrased a little better. That's not a reflection on the book. That was just, marketing copy. But when a strange and oddly familiar man appears on her show, Poe is forced to take a second look, not only because he claims to be her mother's murderer from years ago, but because Poe knows something no one else knows. Her mother's murderer is dead. Poe killed him. Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. Let's see. My goodness, there are like several pages of blurbs. Oh, it starts with a transcript. Oh! Okay, it's a mix of transcripts and regular prose, so I'm not going to bother to read the transcript out loud or anything. I think I'm going to definitely give this one a shot. And one more. Oh my goodness, yes, we're almost at the end. The Last Session by Julia Bartz. She wrote The Writing Retreat, which I thought was pretty good. It wasn't like perfect for me, but it was a pretty solid read. Welcome to the Center of Relational Healing, where a weekend getaway will change your life, for better or for worse. When a catatonic woman shows up at her psychiatric unit, a social worker, Thea, swears that she knows her from somewhere. She's shocked to discover that the patient holds a link to a traumatic time in her own past. Upon regaining lucidity, the patient claims she can't remember the horrific recent events that caused her brain to shut down. Thea's at a loss, especially when the patient is ripped away from her as suddenly as she appeared. Determined to find her, Thea follows a trail of clues to a remote center in southwestern New Mexico, where a charismatic couple holds a controversial monthly retreat to uncover attendees' romantic and sexual issues. Forced to participate in increasingly intimate exercises, Thea finds herself inching closer not only to her missing patient, but also to tantalizing answers about her own harrowing past. However, time is running out, and if she stays for the last session, she might lose her sanity, and maybe even her life. Last session. Okay, so that's the books. Those are the books. That's the books. Yes. Yeah, I'm doing great. Parched. So yeah, actually, there wasn't anything that jumped out to me as being something I absolutely wasn't going to try, at least. A couple where they're kind of probationary, but I'm going to try them. And so I'm going to just edit this and post it as kind of a bonus. I used to post on Thursdays and Sundays, but that was unsustainable. So now I just post for sure on Sundays. And then on Thursdays or in the middle of the week, if there's something I want to share that wasn't too time consuming to make and didn't have to be edited too much and that kind of thing. So it's kind of the more casual stuff. Although some of the stuff on Sundays is also pretty darn casual. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment saying if you've read any of these, were they any good? Is there any you would not want to see me do in depth as a vlog or just an in-depth review or something like that? Please do so. Please leave the comment or don't. You can like, share, and subscribe or don't. I am not the boss of you. And if you don't want to leave a comment, but you are curious to see how I get along with these, I will probably, what I do is periodically post book unhauls, and I call them book unhauls because I'm returning library books. And when I do that, I usually discuss the books I'm returning and what I thought of them. So that's one way. And of course, if you request a more in-depth review of one of these books, then I will do that as well. Or several books, whatever. Again, not the boss of you. So anyway, I appreciate your attention, and I hope you have a good day or night. Yes. Yeah, I'm doing great.